You're listening to the Akinfemi Onadele Show, where we believe in today's fast-paced world, investing in your overall well-being is the most important decision you can make. Join us alongside a variety of guests as we discuss topics empowering you to become the best version of yourself. Enjoy.
Let's be honest, parenting is expensive and many parents struggle to find the time and resources to provide enriching experiences for their kids. But what if there was a way to earn extra cash passively, allowing you to focus on what truly matters, your family's well-being? Becoming a short-let owner with Homely is a fantastic opportunity to generate passive income. By opening your homes, apartments to short-term guests on holidays, you can earn additional money effortlessly while helping other families enjoy a comfortable, homely environment. It's a perfect way to support your financial goals without sacrificing your time and energy. Imagine the possibilities: more funds for family vacations, extracurricular activities, or simply more freedom to enjoy life's little luxuries. Plus, you'll be part of a community that values well-being and shared experiences. Discover how much your home is worth and start earning passive income today at bookhomely.com. That's at bookhomely.com.
To prevent suicide, you must prevent issues that lead to suicide. Suicide, I just said that's the end product of depression. So we need to prevent depression, prevent common mental disorders such as anxieties and panic attacks. And the only way we can prevent that is to start a discussion on mental disorder, just like what we're doing in this studio. Nobody is talking about the prevention of mental disorders. The Association of Psychiatrists in Nigeria, APN, where I belong to, we are so overwhelmed that we've not been doing enough public education advocacy in the prevention of mental disorders. And that's why the stigma and the discrimination associated with mental disorders, that's still very high. So we need to do a lot of public education, advocacy. And one of the reasons we're not doing such is because there are very few psychiatrists in Nigeria, less than 200, for a population of over 200 million. So statistically, that is insignificant. Zero.
It's actually zero.
And 90% of psychiatrists in Nigeria are hospital-based, so you don't find them in the community. The same thing with the clinical psychologists. We're so few. And there's a hiatus, there's a gap. And that's why there's so many life coaches, emotional resilience coaches, therapists, filling the gap for the Gen Zs, because these young people, they are very bold and audacious. And when they encounter issues and have emotional disorders, they don't know where to take them to. The only available mental health facility obvious to people is the Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital located at Yaba. And because of stigma, nobody actually wants to visit that kind of facility. So where would people take their serious emotional conditions to? So can you imagine people living in Ikorodu, Badagry, Ekpe, and all the far environs of Lagos State? They can't come to Yaba. So where will they take the emotional disorders to? That's the problem in Lagos.
So it's interesting. So in episodes 8 and 9, I had my sister Cheesy Diva. Shout out to Cheesy Diva. And, she just has this passion for mental well-being. And, we spoke about the misconceptions around mental health in Nigeria. How when you see somebody that's suffering from mental health, the first thing he says is from his village.
Yes.
Yeah, or he's doing ritual. So it's very interesting that not only from your professional experience, because obviously you're also more experienced than us and older than us. This is something that has been existing for a while, right?
For decades.
And I don't know, that's kind of like, has there been any shift? Or it's the same beliefs?
It's even getting worse.
Wow.
Why? Because in this environment, the African environment, not just Nigeria, the interpretation of those that have mental disorders is that you've been afflicted with spiritual issues. If you've not been afflicted with spiritual issues, then it's a cultural issues. You've been visited by your village people, or you've been attacked by your father's second wife's enemies. So we have cultural and spiritual interpretation for those that experience mental disorders. And that is why the help-seeking attitude of those that have these conditions are towards the spiritual professionals or the traditional healers, who will also emphasize on those beliefs. That, yeah, you're right. Some of your village people or the witches and wizards are after your life because of your prosperity. So, and the only way to counterbalance such beliefs is to continue to educate Nigerians that, look, mental disorders are disorders of the brain. If you have the disorders of the heart, liver, kidneys, lungs, you can also have disorders of the brain, which also have treatment. And if you reach out to mental health experts, you get cured 100%.
Why is it that there's so low, such a low number of psychiatrists?
Young medical doctors don't want to specialize in psychiatry. And the ones that we train, once they become a specialist, they jackpot.
Fully.
The advanced country poach them.
Okay.
And even the ones that we are training, before they finish their training, they also jackpot. So we don't know what to do. The remaining are overwhelmed. We're overwhelmed.
Last question, because I know you have that party to go for, and I don't. I don't want to really.
No, you can take your time. Sincerely speaking, I'm enjoying this conversation too.
Okay.
I like giving out public education and information regarding mental health anywhere I am. So it's a joy to be here discussing information, education, knowledge about the prevention of mental disorders.
And I mean, I'm glad you said that, because even when I suffered my first mental health breakdown, when I moved back to Nigeria, you know, we got connected, and that was where I remember I was depressed. As you were explaining the 3 levels of depression, I was like, oh, okay, so this is the theoretical aspect of what I went through. Was very confused. I don't know if I definitely wasn't interested in doing the things that I love doing. I think I remember that as well. But I came out of it. Yeah. And I remember, like, sometimes years would have passed and you just send me a message like, Femi, maybe you've seen my WhatsApp status and you're like, you're doing very well.
Yes.
And maybe, and you're saying you're proud of me, and then maybe if we didn't work together, the cultural and spiritual environment and beliefs of others may have led me somewhere or to be someone who I do not even recognize.
Exactly. So you must give kudos to your parents who thought it back then that you need to see a psychiatrist or a mental expert. And then somebody connected, and then that's how you got to met. That's decades ago too.
Yeah, it's actually decades now. I think it was like 2014. Yeah, it's actually 10 years ago. So what I want to say to the listeners is, good thing that Dr. Coker is a friend, and also a friend of well-being. As a matter of fact, when I was telling him about the pillars of well-being, he said, "Oh, Akinfemi, it's not complete." Do you remember our conversation? Yeah. He said it's not complete. You didn't talk about, I think he said, was it
family? Yeah.
Yes. And so, of course, we cannot tap into all his wisdom today. So what I want to tell you is that if you have questions, I'm going to give you my email, right, where you can share questions that you want us to ask Dr. Coker. Of course, if you're already following the Akinfemi Onadele show on Instagram, just send a private message, right? And we will be sure to ask Dr. Coker. Either if he's in the studio, he will answer, but if not, we can always read his answer on the show on his behalf, right? And also look out for webinars and, like he said, his audiobooks. especially psychology of manifestation that is coming. So in as much as we all have questions and we are all on this journey of well-being, or all on this journey to be the best version of ourselves, it's a community thing. It's an ongoing thing. It's a lifestyle thing. And we will continually, I for sure, will continue to do my best to help as much as I can on this journey. Okay. So that being said, one more question.
Take your time.
One more question.
Take your time.
And I think it's along the lines of how do we know? Because like right now you say people are suffering, right? How do we know that someone is suffering before we get to that final bus stop? God forbid that we get to that final bus stop.
That's a very beautiful question. Anxiety and depression, when they start to manifest in individuals, they actually start with hotness of the body, which is seen as, in this environment, it could be interpreted as malaria.
Wow.
Hotness of the body, general debility of the body, weakness, chest pain, back pain, poor sleep, and poor appetite. And these are like the symptoms of malaria. So the individual experiencing these symptoms will think he has malaria and will start to treat himself for malaria. The more educated ones will go to the hospital for treatment. So, and for the first 2-3 years, these are the things the individual will experience until it gets to that moderate level, which I mentioned earlier on, when the person starts to experience auditory hallucinations. And then when you hear words from people you don't see, some people talk back. So you see them talking to people they don't see. And of course, those 3 symptoms I mentioned earlier on, continuous sadness, you will know that this person is sad. It will be written on his face. 2, he is now weaker. He's not been able to carry out normal chores or being effective at work. And 3, he will have lost interest in what hitherto gave him joy or happiness. And that's when you get to know that that person has issues. Even before that time, people close to that individual will tell him, you are not as cheerful as you used to be. Cheer up. You've not been happy these days, or you have lost weight. So those are the kind of statements you will hear. However, the individual will still think he's coping. So by the time he experiences the moderate manifestation, it's already chronic. And that will have been 2, 3, 4 years before he gets to see the professional mental health expert, if he goes to the hospital. However, the first port of a call is also the church or the mosque. So, and that's why before we see people experiencing real mental disorder, it's usually 3, 4, 5 years thereafter. And by that time, it's already chronic. So, watch out for constant symptoms of malaria that's been going on for 1 year. And even if the doctor suggests that, look, these are psychological symptoms, would you like to see the psychiatrist? The usual response will be, are you saying I'm mad? Just because I have symptoms of malaria, you are telling me to see a psychologist or psychiatrist. And they also deny that fact. Even some may even know that they have psychological issues, but they are in denial for almost another 1 or 2 years. However, like I said, we need to keep discussing. We need to give out public education and information like we're doing in this channel. And I'm so glad to be here that I'm talking about mental health and how to prevent mental health issues.
Thank you so much, sir. And that brings us to the end of this episode. Doctor has dropped a lot of gems, like we like to say on this show. And it's been very enlightening. A huge thank you to you, Dr. Coker.
My pleasure.
Thank you for sharing your wealth. And we look forward to your books, especially The Psychology of Manifestation. So, guys, make sure you check that out. And I hope dear listener, that Dr. Coker's insights have truly emphasized that taking care of our mental well-being is not just a luxury, but it's a necessity, especially in today's fast-paced world. So whether you're managing stress, you need to understand the impact that mental health has on our physical state. And you also need to know that we need to be more compassionate towards ourselves and others. And, please, to do that is very simple. You can either just listen to this again or share this with somebody who you know that will benefit. So remember, mental health is just as important as physical health. Let's continue the conversation. Let's break the stigma and let's support each other on this journey towards well-being. Thanks for tuning in. And as always, we'll see you on the next episode. Peace and life, riches, blessings.
Thanks for listening to the Akinfemi Onadele Show. Check out www.akinfemionadele.com for more info, articles, and ideas about how to boost your well-being.